Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back, everyone, to the Hifz Journey podcast. I'm your host, Hafiz Amaan, and I am here joined by Imam Hamzah Ghia, founder of Hamd Institute and also an instructor with Quran Flow. Alhamdulillah, the last couple episodes, we talked about the mindset that a person needs to have when starting their Hifz journey, the environment that they need to set in their houses, in their homes, in their families. And we also went through picking the right place, picking the right teacher. And now we're going to be talking about, the different challenges that maybe the parents will go through, or maybe personal, right? Some people will go through different challenges. So I asked you, Imam Hamza, like, from your point of view as an instructor, as a teacher, what are some challenges that you see in today?
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. So, we talked about it that every person has their own Quran journey. So, one of the challenges that I face, or I feel like, you know, a lot of people, a lot of my colleagues or friends who teach other places face is that every parent has this thought process that my child is different. Like,
Hmm.
my child is either above the law or they're below the law, right?
Yeah.
No one says below, everyone says above, right? I always share this, like if we ever say, your child, he was talking in class. My child doesn't talk in class, you know? So I think one of the challenges, and maybe it's a generational thing, right? Like, I remember when I was in madrasa, if my teacher ever said something that I was doing,
Mhm.
even if I didn't do it, I would get in trouble. Like, I could like swear on my life on it, and it was like, nope, your teacher said so. Why is your teacher unhappy? So I think the first thing that I would say would be a challenge and something that we should have a thought process of, or not to make the same mistake of, would be that, once you've picked the place and everything, and we talked about trusting the process, is understand that now we're 100% in. We're all in. So if there are issues, don't become defensive.
Mm.
Learn how to fix those. For example, in mashallah, you're Hafiz as well. After 5, 10 juz, naturally some juz might become weak or challenging, or some sabaks may be a little bit difficult, right? Don't be like, well, my child's doing everything right, or I'm doing everything right.
Yeah.
You know, like, hey, take a break. The reason that I've called you for the meeting, or I've called you for your child's meeting, is because there's a struggle.
Yeah.
You know, let's talk it out. You know, and when I'm talking about trust, you know, there's so many things I can share, but you want your child to memorize the Quran. You as a parent can't be lying. You can't
Mm.
tell them to trust the process and you don't trust the process. How do you do that? Like, if I tell a child, for example, let's stop your lesson. Let's revise.
Oh man.
Let's revise, I don't know, Surah Jathia, difficult surah,
Yeah.
25th juz. A lot of people find it difficult, right? Okay. What I see happens is the parents will be like, no, 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 don't talk to sabak. You do what Hafiz Sahab is telling you,
Oh man.
but keep going and doing your sabak. How you can't do that.
Yeah.
This journey wasn't meant to be on your own. That's why you have a teacher. That's why there's a system in place. You know,
So taking that point real quick, right? If you talk about their relationship, not only your student with the teacher, right, with your kid with the teacher, but the relationship with like you yourself as a parent also with the teacher. Like how important is that communication? Because I know like a lot of times what we see in like madrasas and schools is that it's more of like a chore. Like, hey, look, I'm dropping my kid off. He's gonna go do his Quran. I'm gonna come and I'm gonna pick him up, and then that's it, right? There's no other communication. There's no other interaction. Um, it's usually when you find those parents who will come sit down with you, like, how's my kid doing? What do I need to change,
Mm.
right? Like, how important is that, especially in the relationship with the teacher?
I think now is very important. Like, again, going back to when I was in his, like, my mom would talk to the teacher, but it, she wouldn't have to talk to him too much. She already knew what was the expectation.
Mm.
We had the report. It's the same system that works,
Yeah.
But like now I feel like I have to coach the parents a little bit more, you know. Or the student. The student's like, well, I want to keep going. It's like, relax. Like you're good.
Yeah.
You're doing great. And I think we're always on, we're not playing offense, we're playing defense. Like,
Mm.
no, this is not, I want this, but why is he going so slow? Like, relax. You think that Shaitan wants you to become Hafiz?
No, absolutely not.
You think Shaitan wants there to be another person who memorized the entire Quran that can save 10, 12 people from from Jahannam? No.
No.
There's gonna come challenging times. But I think it's very important. Like we talked about the complete environment, you know? And now we have to coach parents that, you know, like you have to be part of this journey, but you also have to like listen to what the teacher's saying. As a parent, you can't be lying. Or as an older student, you can't lie. You have to be honest. So if your teacher's telling you, hey man, I want you to go read this 20 times, you can't read it 10 and say I did it 20.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So,
Um, I think that's one of the like biggest challenges that I face is when I'm teaching kids. Kids are masoom, and no offense to any of the parents, right?
yeah.
I mean, I'm a parent myself, but like kids are pure. They're following the lead on their parents. You know how frustrating it is as a teacher. Like, again, because you trusted us with your most precious position. This is like your child, like my child, is my pride. I'm trusting someone else with this. So now that you've trusted the teacher and you're doing something that's so honorable, as parents, the expectation is also really high. You know, you can't lie.
Yeah.
Right? You have to be honest. You have to trust the process. And if you lie, maybe you won't get caught. But what are you teaching your child?
Mm. You have said you have to be their role model. It's like so important. Um, like we talk about the environment piece, right? Is like your kid is going for Hifz, or you yourself are going for Hifz. But when you come home, family is constantly either on their phones, watching TV. Technology plays a huge difference in
Yeah,
today's time, man.
I haven't even gotten to that part. Like,
Yeah,
that's huge.
like that whole piece of at home is so important, especially from parents, because your kid is watching every single move that you make. I know people that, who've done hifth and everything like that, right? They moved on with their lives, but sometimes they don't show up for the masjid. They're, Jummah. They come for Jummah and then that's about it. But you look at their life and their household, right? No one else in the house goes to the masjid, right? And the parents didn't go to the masjid, or the parents don't even pick up the Quran. We hear other like scholars like, oh yeah, my family, we sit down, we read a hadith of the day, we used to sit and read Quran together, right? But like, what can you expect from your kid if you yourself are not doing it?
I always thought like if it's someone like your age who's memorizing Quran, it's 50-50. I give you 50%, you give me 50%.
Yeah.
When it's a child memorizing Quran, there's a triangle.
Mhm.
You know, the point of the top point of the triangle is a child,
Yeah.
but they're only going to give you 20%. The
Mm.
teacher's 40 and the parents are 40.
Wow.
It's 40, 40, 20. You have to be with me, or your teacher, whoever that
Yeah.
is, right? So you have to be with me. You can't jump the gun. That's like you going to a doctor and the doctor says take 2 pills and you take 4.
Yeah.
What's going to happen?
Yeah.
Your immune system's going to break apart. You're going to struggle. You're going to overdose, right?
Yeah.
So, again, enjoy the journey, right? But going back to what you were saying, so obviously, like when I did Hifz, we didn't have phones,
Hmm.
we didn't have iPads,
Yeah.
So, I think that people need to understand that one of the other challenges that we have today is a lot of distractions. We have to try our best to limit those distractions. You know, Screen time isn't good. Like your child or you are sitting down and memorizing Quran. Let's say you're doing full time.
Yeah.
Full time means for 6 hours a day, you're rocking back and forth, and you're reading.
Yeah.
Your eyes are hurting. You're so focused. Now, if you go home and you sit back and you see the TV and you're like, watching TV for 3 hours, your
Yeah.
brain it's not gonna remember what you just did, you
Exactly.
know? And I know everyone talks about mental health and, is it a thing? Is it not? Obviously not a conversation for this podcast, but I can tell you that your mental capacity, right? Your mental memory has a lot to do with what you watch and what you eat as well,
Mm.
you know? So his will teach you how to focus. The challenging part is how do you continue that at home? Is extracurricular activities, you know? Put your kids into sports. Don't let them just sit there and watch TV, be on their iPads for so long. It's going to affect their memory. It's going to affect their Hifz, right?
Yeah.
We talked about this, I think, sinning,
Mhm.
right? Wasting time,
Yeah.
sinning. It's going to affect your memory. Same thing that happens when you're watching. You're constantly watching. It's going to affect your memory. I tell parents, put your kids into swimming. It helps you with your breath techniques, with your recitation, but also, but also, it helps you focus. You don't want to drown in the water,
Yeah.
you know. And again, like this might be like a little bit out of the box. Is it allowed to like kickbox or like hit people in the face, whatever? But like, put them in a boxing ring. They get punched once or two times. They're gonna learn how to
Or
focus a little
wrestling.
bit.
Wrestling's better.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like they're gonna learn how to focus.
Yeah.
You have to focus. Put them into basketballs. They're running drills. They're sweating. Because you're sitting all day. You know, one of the other challenges I see is, or not challenges, but like things that will affect your hifz is if you don't eat properly.
Mm.
You know,
Is that
Pro-
just like what you eat, or is that even like where that food comes from?
both.
Mm.
You know, I mean, you can't be eating haram and then expect Allah Subhanahu wa Taala to open your memory. It doesn't go right. The Prophet said if you're eating haram and you're making dua, your dua is not accepted. As in, if you're earning haram, right? Like, if you're involved in things that Allah has clearly made impermissible, and this is a very deep conversation. And sometimes
Yeah.
parents will come and say, "Well, we're doing everything right."
Yeah.
Our sins as parents has an effect on our child's life, whether we like it or not. Whether we like it or not. If you are earning haram, now you go to the grocery store and you buy milk for your child with that haram income. Your child is drinking that milk to get strong. But what is it doing to his heart? It's affecting them, you know? And now this trend of, you know, even weddings or even, you know, staying out late at night. Or my child is sleeping early. Dear mother, dear father, what are you doing late at night?
Mm.
Your hand should be like this making dua and you're out at a hookah lounge or, you know, you're out at a place where you shouldn't be.
Yeah.
Not to say like whatever difference of opinions here and there, right? But you're constantly out, you know, you're constantly committing sins in your life. You're showing off your skin or your hair or whatever it is. So the digital world has a lot of things that will affect your relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And again, no one's perfect. Don't get
Yeah.
me wrong. Doesn't mean that if I don't do these things, my kid shouldn't become Hafiz or I shouldn't go. But you should work on improving those things.
Yeah.
You know, you should work on it. My kid is going to become a Hafiz of Quran. Allah is telling me that my place in Jannah is going to be with the martyrs of people of Gaza. Subhanallah.
Subhanallah.
Like, I should have a little bit of it should be a little bit of effect to my heart. I should try, you know, I should try to be as modest. Like, the Hifz journey was supposed to become a thing where we all become better. Or at least we have the intent to do so. And no one's judging you about your intentions. Allah knows your intentions, right?
Yeah.
But these common things, like earning haram, like try your best to get out of it,
Yeah.
you know? Especially if it's your own business. What are you going to do? You're going to have your Hafiz son or daughter continue that business,
Mm.
you know? So sometimes it's our sins that are disconnecting our children from memorizing the Quran.
Yeah. I want like sharing my story, right? Is my parents kind of they were reverts. Yeah. And so um at some point, we had a house on interest and things like that, right? But before my Hifz Journey started, like, my parents went through that. They were like, "You know what? We need to clean up clean up our act," basically, to put it in better terms, right? Like, we need to clean up our act. They sold the house. So, you know what? We get out of interest, started renting. That we need to get out from, eating out, there's places that we're not supposed to be going to, right? Stuff like that. We stopped going to events that we weren't supposed to be at, whatever it may be. But the environment shift that happened, and in return, like, alhamdulillah, like, I'm Hafiz, but I'm not the only Hafiz in my family, right? Because of those changes that my parents made in their lives, alhamdulillah, I'm Hafiz. My brother's Hafiz. My cousins are Hafiz, right? And so many other people that, alhamdulillah, like, maybe they might have seen one of us, right, become a Hafiz, and then in return, they're also becoming a Hafiz. Their kids are going to become Hafiz.
100%. I mean, your experience in changing before, for me, it was during,
Mhm.
the pressure was on, right?
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
subhanAllah, it was a very rough journey. Letting go of a lot of things was very difficult. It's not easy, but that's the challenges that we face, right? And now your challenges might be a little different, but we have to try our utmost best. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is looking at our effort, by the way.
Mm.
You know, if we're making effort, Allah will find a way. So, and now again, if you're speaking just on Houston's behalf, and I know around the world this is a conversation too, that how hard is it really to find halal meat to eat? How hard is it, to find a halal job? Is it challenging? Yes. But really, how hard is it? And is it hard because you can't find one, or is it hard because you're making less money?
Mm.
Right?
Yeah.
So these are challenges that, as parents or as persons memorizing Quran, it's a process. Don't get me wrong. Everything in our deen is a process, right?
Yeah.
So go through the process and make that effort. Um, even conversations like modesty, like your child memorizing Quran. Maybe you can't wear hijab everywhere. You're not ready, which is understandable, but make an effort.
Yeah.
That maybe when I go to the grocery store, I'll wear hijab. Maybe when I sit in my car and I'm dropping off my kid to the madrasa, I'll wear hijab. Maybe I'm not ready for that other stuff, and inshallah, Allah will guide you to it. But don't take it for granted. When we take things for granted, Allah will take it away from us. And the reality is, how many Hafiz do you know and I know, just within our city, forget outside, who memorized the Quran, they forgot it. Allah protect.
Yeah.
It's a very heavy conversation. Like, it hurts a lot, to be honest.
Yeah.
It hurts a lot because, not only because of this, but, we know some people who didn't pick the right place, right teacher,
Yeah.
And they messed up, whatever that happened, but they're so far away from the Quran. And maybe that's a reason for someone else, and, Allah will hold them accountable and stuff, but this is you. As a parent, like, I have to trust, like, hey, like, eating good, eating halal, but also eating healthy as well. I know we didn't talk about that, but,
Mm.
like, eat good, man, so you feel good.
Yeah.
I think there's a myth, actually. I feel like, not a myth, but, like, I feel like there should be a study. Why are a lot of Hafaz or teachers of Hafaz overweight?
That would be a very interesting topic.
I mean, the reason is because we're sitting all day.
Yeah.
Like, go out for a walk and read your Quran.
Yeah.
Like, work out. It's so good for you. Eat healthy. Um, we didn't do it before, but now, I've started telling parents, like, stop sending, like, Sour Patches with your kids to school, man. I know it's great candy, but give them good food to eat, Like, fruits are good, milk is good, right? The sunnah foods, don't forget the dates, right?
Don't Uber eats
Well,
food
let
to
me-
the madrasa. Don't Uber eats food to the madrasa.
We had to make, like, a rule at home, bro. Like, I feel like Uber, like, I felt we were gonna be like the top delivery place for Uber and DoorDash. The parents who are watching, I'm sure they can resonate. We had to send messages. You can no longer Uber Eats. You're gonna eat a burger, they're gonna become a burger, man. Like, and I'm telling you, it's a trend.
Yeah.
So, like, go work out. Like, go play tennis, basketball, now there's pickleball, put your kids in swimming, whatever you can do.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it has to be like they're going to become the best sports athlete, but that is the environment at home that, we have to work on to keep them away from bad environment and bad things that are going to affect your mind, right?
Mhm.
And putting them into things that are going to help them. And is it challenging? It's a financial strain.
Yeah.
It's, you have to pick and drop. Now with inflation, both parents are working, which is, difficult,
Yeah.
right? But wherever there's a will, there's a way,
Absolutely.
right?
Yeah.
Find people in your neighborhood. And I feel like that culture is also lost.
Yeah. We don't say hi to our neighbors no more.
I mean, you went to madrasa. I remember you used to carpool.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, I went to madrasa. We used to carpool.
Yeah.
We used to go together. Few people in the neighborhood go. So why can't you do that for other things? Why can't you do that for an after-school activity? I know it's hard. Don't get me wrong.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
But you could do that, And the only way to do that is, we talked about it, episode 1, environment, man.
Yep.
If everyone's on the same page, it works very beautifully. Maybe you're not able to be the one who picks up the kids, right?
Yeah.
But maybe you're the one who's able to drop off the kids. Maybe you're the one who can take them once a week to the park. Like, so everyone has to play their role. And when everyone plays their role, it looks so beautiful. Like, it's all there. I remember, like, when I used to go to high school, they didn't have Jummah in high school. You know? So my dad's job was the Jummah.
Okay.
So he would come. First it was me.
Yeah.
Then it was my friend. Then it was my cousin. So the Jummah was like 9 kids leaving to go for Jummah. That was my dad's thing. But during the week, he wasn't able to pick us up because of work. But the other moms would help pick me up and take me back home. Or,
Yeah.
So it was a give and take. Everyone has to do their part. And they have to do it with ihsan and ikhlas. So for this challenging part, as parents or as the one who's memorizing the Quran, be honest. Don't lie. Don't cheat the system.
Yeah.
Do what you would do anywhere else. The thing with Quran is, right, it's your own journey. So there's no like holding back. Like in academic, there's like, hey, if you don't pass, if you don't understand this concept, they can't go to 5th grade or 6th grade or 7th grade or 8th grade. I have to hold them back. So parents get serious. Over here, what's the rush, man? So that's my biggest challenge. Is like, we want to finish. Why do you want to finish so early?
Yeah.
It would be cool. I have had students who finished in 1 year. MashaAllah, tabarakallah.
Yeah.
Right? But think about, if your child stays in his for 1 more year, what are you really going to lose?
Yeah.
But what are you really going to gain?
The beauty of the Quran is that, like, the delay is also benefiting it. With other things like worldly matters, life, school, okay, you're gonna get job late, all that stuff. But the beauty of the Quran is that you get 1 more year, man. You have 1 more year with the Quran.
You know what's crazy is when you're memorizing Quran, that whole process, like once you start from Alhamdulillah and you reach to Nas, you can never ever memorize the Quran again.
What do you mean by that?
Like, that process, once it ends, it ends.
Okay.
Like, it can never happen again. There's no more Quran to ever be memorized.
Wow.
Like, enjoy the journey. And that's why, like, Alhamd, right? Just talk about Hamd. Like, I made it with the team, of course, where they're getting their academics there. It's not like Harvard level. Inshallah, we'll get there too.
Inshallah.
But it's enough where you won't get behind. So enjoy it. I would actually challenge and say that our kids academically do better than kids who go to public school or even some private schools. I'm up for the challenge. And not because they're wrong or whatnot, but because our kids are memorizing the Quran. There's barakah in it.
Of course.
And again, like, the conversation can go on and on, right? Parents are in a rush. Why are you in a rush? Academics. And then I have to remind them, with all due respect, with all the humbleness I have in myself, may Allah protect us from any type of ego or pride. But I'll tell them, why are you having this conversation with me?
Yeah.
You know,
We have a balance.
and the Quran teacher, right?
Yeah.
So why are you having the conversation with me? So trust the process.
Yeah.
And for those who are listening, and whether you're a teacher or you're a parent or you're a student who's learning Quran, I really, that's why we talked about picking the right teacher. You have to trust them. There is a relationship between a teacher and a student, right? There's a relationship between a teacher and a parent. And that relationship is a very powerful relationship that our deen teaches us about because it holds value to it. If you for a second think that this teacher is going to give me or telling me something that is not benefit for my child, that teacher probably shouldn't be your child's teacher.
Oh man.
As heavy as that sounds or as deep as that is. Like, if you don't trust me, don't give me like what's so valuable to you. Like, if I had $1 million and I had to hold it and there's no banks and I say, Amaan, hold my $1 million.
You gotta trust me.
I have to trust you. I'm going overseas. So trust me. I trust you.
Yep.
Right? Because I'm giving you what I value. But if you're not going to give it, if I say, hey man, where's the money today? Where's the money tomorrow? Where'd you put it? How'd you put it? What'd you do with it? Where'd you do it? Don't do it. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. I think talking about teachers, right? I think that that relationship and the respect and that bond you build with the teacher is often taken for advantage, like to advantage, right? Taken advantage of. That you were talking about in the beginning, how parents think their child is like the golden child and everything like that, right? But like the value of the teacher is so important. Like I'm here sitting with you today, right? Is that this relationship we can't find that anywhere else. Like because my parents put my trust in you, because your parents put trust in your teachers, right? That's why we're here today, right? That this bond will never be broken, and is that relationship with teachers is something that we even see like in when like the hadith with Jibril alayhi salam came to Prophet sallallahu, right? And he sat with the Prophet sallallahu and asked him about the deen, right? But that hadith itself shows you what it means to be a teacher and a student. That hey, look, I'm gonna come prepared. I'm gonna dress nice. I'm gonna give him my full attention. They sat knee to knee, right? Like you have to respect your teacher and put your trust in him.
And it goes from the parents teaching that, right?
Yeah.
Like, I remember, like, one time, Hafz Hafidahullah, who's done some tremendous work in the Houston area. I remember one time he called for Jummah and I had Jummah somewhere else. And come give khutbah. And I was trying to make like an excuse.
Yeah.
Allah forgive me. My mom overheard. She said, cancel your other khutbah. Your teacher called you. She said, I don't care what kind of commitment you gave. You got to go. Or you got to give him an alternative date to go to. Like, that's the relationship that it should be. Where you're trusting, right?
Yeah.
There are only two people who would ever want you to be better than them.
It's your teachers.
Your father and your teacher.
Allah.
I think it was Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah who said, he told his students, he said, if you go to Jannah and you don't find me, please ask about me.
Allah.
Please ask about me. Like, it is an honor for a teacher when they see their student go far and above and beyond what they were able to do. It's their pride. It's not a competition. So as a teacher, when we're saying, repeat, relax, there's times where we tell you to kind of be a little bit more like firm. The time we tell you to relax or trust the process. It's because we want that child to be better than us. And the Prophet ﷺ tells us this too, right? Like, your teacher is like your father. Like, they replace, right?
Yeah.
In average, this is a question for you. How much time do you think a child spends with their parents on average in America per day?
would say an hour, 2 hours.
The average, like the average is 2 to 2.5 hours. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, when you're teaching kids for 6 hours a day, I want you to think for those 5 years, the teacher is spending the triple amount of time with the student or the child, depending on what program they're in. You're in a part-time program. Let's say the part-time program, an average part-time program is 3 hours. Masjid Hamzah was 4 hours.
Yeah.
Part-time, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was spending 4 hours with you, whereas your parents, and not even 1 hour, not even 2 hours. You're going to school for 8 hours. You're coming after school for 4 hours. What are you really spending time with your parents?
Yeah.
Or if you're going to a full-time program and you have after school or whatever you have after school, who's spending time with your child?
It's a teacher.
If you can't trust them, then maybe they shouldn't be your child's teacher. You find someone else that you trust. Because the teacher always wants the child to be more successful than them. It's an honor for us. When I go to a place, like I don't do imamate anymore, but I remember when I was imam, and Masjid Hamzah, right?
Yeah.
Where you guys would lead, and mashallah, the masjid was so accommodating. Not that I wasn't there, but it was an honor for me to have my students lead.
Absolutely.
I would make a schedule, even where I was imam after that, I would make a schedule where my students would lead. And that wasn't because I couldn't do it.
No, absolutely not.
When I go, Qari Hashim,
Yeah.
again, Hafidullah, mashallah, my teacher who I studied with, and, I learned with him, I memorized with him. When I go to his masjid, he tells me to lead. Not that I'm worthy of leading when he's there, but he tells me to lead because it's an honor for him. That he why did we do all that work for?
Yeah.
And so the process is always the teacher teaches and he wants the students to grow, right? Even during the time of the Prophet ﷺ, where he said to Mu'adh, "Oh Mu'adh, I love you, but I need you to leave and go do this. I want you to go and give da'wah here." Allah said yes. And he said, "But when you come back, I'm not going to be here." But he said, "I still need you to go," right? So as teachers, our job is always to put the best interest of the student that's doing memorization. And that comes with adab and respect that we teach them along the way. That comes with some strictness and firmness.
Absolutely.
That comes with some love and muhabba, right? And for all the teachers who are there, I think that's another challenge. It's really hard to find good teachers.
Why is that?
Dunya, distractions, the same thing. Teachers are distracted, and as teachers we can't. And I think it's changing.
Yeah.
I believe it's changing. The tide is changing. We're finding better teachers. We're finding people who are committed, right? But we have to remember that we're teaching the book of Allah.
Yeah.
How would it be? How was it when Jibreel ﷺ came to the Prophet with revelation? Are there any stories that say that he came and he, brought a sword and A'udhu Billah to fight with him and then teach him? It was love, muhabba, There was beauty in it. So challenge for us, this trust, is one of the biggest challenges. And then after trust, all these things that I mentioned, they come into play. Your doings, right? Like, if you as a parent are not waking up for Fajr,
How do you expect your kids to do it?
how do you expect your kid to memorize the Quran?
Yeah.
I think that's start with Salah, right?
Yeah.
If you're not calculating your zakah properly,
Yep.
right, it doesn't work.
Okay.
So you have to be honest with yourself too. Is it easy?
No.
I think no is an understatement. Like, most definitely not.
Absolutely not. Yeah.
Is it doable?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Right? So what are the challenges? And once you figure out, this is why, again, if you look at the older system, people sending their kids to boarding school.
Yeah.
It's a trust.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
And even in the American system, when you send your kid out of state to go study college, what are you doing?
You trust in the school.
Trusting. Trusting that they're gonna go back and you're gonna get the best education that they're gonna get.
Yeah.
Why would you leave your child?
So true, man.
Right?
Yeah.
So now that you trusted your child, you trusted the individual and the institution and the school, then trust that they're gonna have the best interest.
Yeah.
You know,
Absolutely.
there's a saying that says that even if you know that the teacher of your child is doing something wrong, you shouldn't confront them about it. You should tell someone else to do it. Like if they're making a mistake,
Hmm.
you know, because of respect that what they're teaching your child. We're not teaching math. We're not teaching English. We're not teaching history. We're teaching Quran. That you should tell someone else to go tell them their mistake.
Wow.
So it works, right?
Yeah. I think like taking the challenges further, right? The routine that a person who is memorizing the Quran is so, so important. Like you talked about how 6 hours, 8 hours in Hifz, but that's not where it stops. Like I think that's one of the challenges that I see myself, right? Is that people stop at the masjid. Like my kid comes back, I pick him up from the madrasa, from the masjid, and then that's it. But in reality, like the journey continues on into the house. Like what is the proper routine for someone who is memorizing the Quran, going into like revision and everything like that? Like what is their proper routine?
So post Hifz we'll talk about its own episode.
Yeah.
But during Hifz, every child or every individual needs a routine.
Yeah.
You know, if you look at it, we all have our own routines too. When you go to work, I'm sure people who go to corporate, you go get your coffee around the same time every single day,
Yeah, pretty much.
right?
Yeah.
If you go to high school, you go to your locker, like you have your routine.
Yeah.
You'll go to your locker to get your books at the same time every single day, right? So you should have a routine, and that routine should be followed, right? Don't break routine when it comes to Quran. When you break it, you're gonna hurt yourself because you know there's no structure.
Yeah.
So that doesn't mean you have to go home and just be with the Quran all day. Like I said, have some activity outside, have a mental break, find a hobby. That's good. You know, cooking is a good hobby, knitting is a good hobby, reading is a good hobby, right?
Yeah.
But within that, have some time to, you know, remember what you practiced that day.
Yeah.
So for someone who's older and memorizing, I would say read it in Salah.
Hmm.
You're praying Isha, just read what you memorized. For someone younger, I would say that parents should have a structure at home, 45 minutes, 1 hour, right? Um, or follow whatever your teacher tells you.
Yeah.
Some days might be more, some days might be less. But have a set routine, have goals. Sometimes the mistake that parents make or people make that memorize the Quran, they have the goal like this big.
Yeah.
Hey,
I want the world.
come back.
Yeah.
In that one day, what is your goal for that day? What is your goal for that week? So I think those routines are good.
Yeah.
But if any routine that I think that would be very important for anyone memorizing the Quran is physical activity.
Yeah.
Even if that's you walking and reading Quran,
Just get off the phone. Get out.
get out.
Yeah.
You know.
Or as like I think one scholar said, touch grass, man. Just go touch grass. Like literally.
Yeah, because it is a distraction. And also remember, like, whatever our eyes see, our heart thinks about.
Yeah.
Our mind thinks about and our heart does, right? So if we're watching, I know there's good on the internet too, don't get me wrong, right? But if we're continuously scrolling, which has become a trend now,
Yeah.
right? And we're seeing things that are impermissible, it's going to affect our mind,
Yeah.
right? So, it's very important for us to be very careful.
One thing I add to the routine, right? And it's something that works for me and I also tell one of my students, right? Is that the relationship that the student has with their teacher, you should also have some sort of relationship with your kid at home. That meaning that you sit down and you read Quran with them, that you listen to them. You do that reading ayah again and again and again. That you find someone as a kid, you have your parents. If you're older, find someone like accountability partner,
Yeah,
right?
100%.
Sit down with someone. Like that should be something that's structured in the routine.
I mean,
It's
bro, this for me, this topic is like so emotional, right?
yeah.
This year, this is the 23rd year I led Tarawih.
Wow.
Every year when I would lead Tarawih, my mother would be in the car with me
Allah.
and she would listen to me. And this year when I drove to the masjid, man, it felt so empty. That was our relationship. Me and my mom, we didn't cook together. She cooked, I ate. She cleaned, I wore my clothes. You know? I mean, she yelled, I listened. Sometimes, I would talk back, unfortunately. But, those are, close moments you have. But the Quran was our relationship. And I have no regrets.
Absolutely.
I have no regrets. I remember, like, my wife hates it when I tell the story, but I remember that my first year when I got married, my wife was like, you gotta read to me. I was like, sure. So I read, and then I made a mistake. And then I told her when I came back home, I was like, I can't read to you anymore. Yeah, I need to read to my mom, you know? But it was our thing.
Yeah.
What a beautiful connection,
Yeah.
you know? I highly encourage for every parent to have that relationship with their kid, even if that's the only relationship you have.
I read to in Ramadan. I would do the same thing with my mom, and my brother reads only once to my mom, and like I don't know how that's doable, but like, I have to read at least 4 to 5 times. If I'm reading a quarter, my mom listens to that quarter 4 to 5 times, and like she'll sit down with me, she'll listen again and again, and sometimes when I don't even want to repeat the page, she'll tell me to repeat the page. So like, no, say it again. And then she has like this saying, right? I have like 11 juz is like one of my weaker juz.
I know.
And yeah, sorry. Yeah, I forgot you're my teacher too. And so like she'll when she hears me on the mic like leading salah, she's like, my best friend was here today. I was like, what do you mean? She's like 11 juz was here today.
But like that relationship, like as you grow older, and it becomes like you become busy with your own family, you
Yeah.
become, but even though like I have my own kids now, but me like sitting and reading with my mom was just my thing. Like it was our thing of a way to connect. Like you don't, you may not, be on the same page when it comes to TV shows or it comes to eating out or picking restaurants or it becomes to traveling. Like like I have my own kids now. They want to go to Disney. My mom can't even walk. She wasn't even able to walk, for example, right? Like whatever. Like or you want to go to like hiking and she's like, "Ye kya hai?" Like
Yeah.
what is this, right? So her was like, they take me for Umrah and that's it, right? But even like subhanallah, I'm telling you, like our connection, subhanAllah, I would say is so deep that the night before she passed away, we were at a masjid in Houston and I had like a lecture there or whatever. And I told her that after lecture we'll leave and we'll pray Tarawih somewhere else. This was our conversation.
Yeah.
And when that Imam, I forgot his name honestly, because from Egypt, I hope I can meet him one day. When he started reading, man, that recitation, it hit so much. I texted my mom that we'll leave when he finishes. Okay.
Yeah.
So after 8 rakats, so I came out. My mom came out and she's like, I didn't read your message, but I wasn't gonna come out anyways. And she said in Urdu, she said, "Mere dil mein itna sukoon tha." That the way he read the Quran, and I felt the same way. Like that's how we connected. Like we would look forward to recitations together. Like people may not get it, people might find it corny, but that was the relationship we had. And I highly advise parents who want their kids to be it, like in this journey, have that relationship. And to be very frank, I didn't value it when I was 8 years old in madrasa. I did not value it at all. I actually hated it. Like, and my friends will tell you, people who live in my neighborhood, and they always remind me. My mom would be at the bus stop, but I repeat, and I'm like, dude, like, what's going on here? Everyone's sitting there like playing whatever games, and I'm like, on repeat at the bus stop. Did I like it? Of course not. Do I value it now? I would trade it for the world again. Like, so as you get older, that relationship will become better. I know it's hard to find time. Like we talked about, like back then, maybe both parents didn't work, they didn't have to. But with inflation and the job market and the things going on now in the world, maybe they do. Maybe they have to. Some people don't have a choice. They really have to for survival mode, right? Um, so to find that time with your child, you're not gonna get that time back.
Yeah.
Like I would highly encourage that one parent should be that go-to.
Yeah. Like putting all this together, like we talked about all these different aspects so far of the Hifz journey. And to me, I think like the relationship with your kid, your parents, right, is I feel like it's the most important part. Like, yes, you have your relationship with your teacher and with the Quran, 100%. Those are
Mm.
obviously, they have their level too. But the parent, that's the motivating
Like I said, it's a
factor.
triangle, right?
It's a triangle.
40, 40, 20.
Yeah.
Or 50-50, right? So if you're the student, then you have this partner, and there's never too late, by the way.
Yeah.
Man, if you told me to trade the world and rememorize the Quran on my mom and she would be able to come back, I would do it right now. I would leave Hamd, I would leave all my students, no offense to all of them, but I would leave all of them and I would redo it again, right? Just to be it. So go do it. Maybe that is your way to connect back. Or you find someone that you can connect with. But I also wanted to mention something about parents and their kids. If that's the journey that we're talking about, don't strain your relationship either.
How does that look like?
When you say, "Oh, my child can't do it,"
Oh,
usko to kuch yaad hi nahi hai. He doesn't know anything. He always makes mistakes. Listen, you're the mom, you're the dad. Let the teacher be that person, man. That 40%, go over there. Let the teacher be the mean person.
Yeah.
You have to be the loving, caring. We talked about it. Like you said, I teach my son. One of the best moments for me is when my son says, "Dad, I'm struggling." And right now he's still a little bit young, so I can do the cuddles. Like I'll put him on my lap and let's read together. Yeah, I enjoy it.
Yeah, that's a dream.
Like that moment's not gonna come back again. We know the story of Sheikh Ayub, rahimahullah. Someone that any Hafiz will try to imitate.
Yeah.
Right. The day before he passed away, his sixth child became Hafizah.
Oh yeah.
And then at the lecture, what did he say?
My job is complete.
My job is complete.
Allah.
I did it. All my kids have memorized the Quran. I met someone one time, he said all 9 of his kids have memorized the Quran.
Allah. It's a lot of crowns on the Day of Judgment.
And one forgets, I used to have 8 more. Astaghfirullah. But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, hey, like that. Like don't strain your relationship. Inshallah, I think, I believe one of the episodes we're gonna talk about like the strengths, the things that do work, and I'll share some, inshallah. Hopefully Allah gives us tawfiq and a chance. Like, what are some things that do work in your journey? What doesn't work, we talked about.
Yeah.
What to work on, what are challenges, but we'll end off with, don't strain your relationship. Yeah. Don't be the mean person. Be strict, be firm, but don't create that, I don't want to be with my mom, I don't want to be with my dad. Laugh about it. Memorize with them.
Oh yeah.
Everything we're talking about goes back, right? Like, memorize with them. Say, "Where do I listen to me? I'll listen to you." I posted a video about me reading with Abdullah. I don't know if you saw it or not.
Yeah, I saw it. Yeah.
Right?
He was correcting you.
He was correcting me, right? You're like, "Oh, you're right," but you're supposed to enjoy those moments in the journey. Yeah. It doesn't have to be so like. It doesn't have to be so.
Yeah.
Cutthroat.
Rigid. No.
Be natural. And I promise you, in this journey of the Quran, like, Allah is to you how you see it. Like, you're going towards Allah. And the Prophet taught us, right? If you walk towards Allah, Allah runs towards you. So whatever this journey is of you or your child memorizing the Quran, do you really think Allah is going to take away other things of your life?
Yeah. Make the journey beautiful. Like, there's so many people that they make it tough on their kids and they have that resentment towards going towards the Quran. Don't make that happen. Like, it's so important. Inshallah, we'll go into the strengths in a future episode, inshallah.
You know, and I know just before we end, because I've been doing this for so long.
Yeah.
So many kids have trauma because of it too.
Yes.
They don't believe they can do it because their parents don't believe in them.
Mm.
You know, like you have to believe that your child can do it. They have to believe it, of course.
Yeah.
Or whoever's memorizing has to believe it. But you have to believe that your child can do it. If you don't believe, and believe it or not, like what our parents say does hurt.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I know people talk about it like, oh, it doesn't bother me what they think about
No.
me. It hurts,
Yeah.
right? It hurts
Yeah.
what your dad thinks. It hurts what your mom thinks. You know, the two people who love you unconditionally.
Yeah.
Right? So positive energy is very important. We'll talk about that more, inshallah.
Inshallah. So Jazakumullah khair, inshallah. Inshallah, our audience members, inshallah, we'll see y'all in the next episode. Jazakumullah khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.